Welcome, fellow dreamers.
Welcome, fellow followers.
Welcome to Northland Homestead. So in today's video, we're just going to do a little Q&A. So full disclosure, we actually never got questions. I forgot to ask for them, but we came up with a few questions that we thought you guys might be interested in learning about us. They start out kind of just low-key, easygoing, just simple questions about us, and rev up to more interesting things. So let's get to it.
Let's do it.
We'll start with a few basic questions, such as, what is your favorite color?
My favorite color is red.
And mine is pink.
And I honestly don't know that many people whose favorite color is red. I don't think I can think of one other person.
That's true.
So if you're out there and you like red, let me know.
And I'm super basic. Everyone likes pink. That's a girl. At least generally speaking, but it's the truth. So what's your favorite food?
That's tough. I like food in general. My favorite food is food. But I would say if I had to pick one, probably a cheeseburger. That's the thing I go to the most.
I would say the same.
I wish it was salad, but it's not.
Yeah. Favorite food that I make, though, what would you say is your favorite one I make?
Probably your lasagna. I love that. Yeah.
I'll have to share that recipe with you guys. It's actually my mother-in-law's recipe, and it's fantastic. So one of these days I'll make it for him and share it with you. My favorite food is also hamburgers, but I would say my favorite thing that I make is probably roast, mashed potatoes, and corn. I just love meat and potatoes, that kind of combination. So that's my favorite. One Republic. That's actually both of our favorites. We really connected with that band and both just really love it.
Yeah, he's a great songwriter, very talented singer. There's not a song I've ever heard of theirs that I was like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just so good. I also really like Yanni, though. I grew up listening to him. I know he's sort of a controversial favorite because everyone seems to collectively have decided to hate him, but I personally love his music. I don't think it's just elevator music. I think it's just really great, and I love how he brings in all of the different ethnicities and culture into his music, so yeah, I'm a huge fan of Yanni. Also, one of my favorites is Ethan, which, fun fact if you didn't know, he is a musician. What all do you play, babe?
Well, I play guitar in various forms, like, bass as well as rhythm and lead, but also piano and drums, and then I just like to create music as well on the computer.
Yeah, and he's come up with several great music and songs, so maybe we'll share that with you guys one of these days. I have 2 older brothers and 2 older half-sisters who live in Florida.
And I have 2 older brothers, an older sister, and a younger brother.
Like I've said in the past, I'm really into knitting, sewing, gardening, cooking, baking, let me think. Oh, painting, I love to paint, reading, just various things like that. She's
basically into everything,
yeah.
Which I love that about her. She's got an endless interest in life.
Yeah. And new things I want to explore too, like candle making is high on my list of things I want to try.
My hobbies are music, sports, mostly at this point with my vision, not playing them anymore, but more listening and following. I love the Cleveland sports teams. I like reading, which again, I don't physically read, but I like to listen to either audiobooks or I especially love when she reads to me. So that's a big one. And just watching TV and movies, always interested in, something new that's come out,
My favorite movie is You've Got Mail. I just absolutely love that movie. It's a classic, and it's a love story I can actually get behind. I feel like there are so many love stories that are just super over the top or cheesy or something like that, but it feels really realistic to me. And I just absolutely love that love story.
Yeah, it's charming.
Yeah.
My favorite would probably be The Fellowship of the Ring. I love Lord of the Rings. My dad read it to me when I was young. I've read it several times myself. We're reading it together now. She's watched the movies, and so she's gotten into it too. The Fellowship is my favorite of the 3, though. It is just so good.
Yeah, I used to think that it was the third one for me, but I agree with him. The first one is incredible. And if you are into cottagecore, I feel like it's got the best cottagecore vibes in the first one. So
I can live with that. As
Yeah.
long as you, as long as it gets you to like it, then
Yeah.
that's fine with me.
All right, let's get into some more of the juicy questions. The first question we thought you guys might be interested in is, why did we move to Michigan? For those of you who don't know, we grew up in Ohio. We grew up in like the Dayton area. It's kind of around there. And we moved to Columbus for his job at one point, but then we decided to move to Michigan.
We had our sights set on Maine. You were thinking like the Northwest and like Washington, something like that, maybe even Alaska.
Yeah.
But Michigan kind of was the closest to where we grew up that had a lot of the things we were looking for. We don't live in the Upper Peninsula. We live in like the northern part of the Lower Peninsula.
Yeah, of the globe.
Yeah. So you're far up north enough to where you get more of the cooler climate. It's more rural. It's just beautiful up here. So you get a lot of the peace and quiet, although you can hear some cars going by from now and again. It is generally very quiet around here. And it's just beautiful. You've got all you got the Great Lakes on either side. We can go to Lake Michigan side, or we're very close to Lake Huron. So there's just so many great things about Michigan that honestly I never considered before. When you grow up in Ohio, you're taught that Michigan is the rival, and now I feel like it's not so bad.
Yeah, we really love it here. Like you said, it's really quiet, it's really calming, and you just get more bang for your buck here. I feel like in Ohio, you really can't get much acreage, especially in our price range, which, is limited. So it's really nice to be able to get acreage here and also get that seclusion from your neighbors because the population density is smaller here. So yeah, there were just several factors like that really drew us here.
Yeah, we're friendly people. We're not antisocial, but we do like our privacy.
Yeah.
So it's nice because even though there are folks that live around us, there's trees in between us and everyone else. We can't see anyone else directly. So it's just nice. It gives you a sense of your own space.
So I started a YouTube channel mostly because I wanted to share my journey, my wellness journey primarily, but also my journey to homestead life. It's not something I grew up with. It's not something Ethan grew up with. It's something that we both just kind of felt like was right for us, and we wanted to share that and kind of have that accountability as well as just that creative outlet to share it with you guys, and it's been really, really rewarding. I really, really love sharing all of the fun things that we've got going on at the homestead with you guys.
So it's hard to believe it's been a year almost, and as far as how the first year has gone, I think it's been great. It's really helped push us forward, especially me. I'm more cautious and hesitant to try new things, but it's given me a reason to kind of be okay with just taking baby steps forward and doing new things.
One thing I thought that might be interesting for you guys to learn is how we came up with our sons' names. For those of you who don't know, our sons are named Onyx and Boyd, which are admittedly pretty unique names. So we thought we'd share with you guys the story behind those names.
If you don't know our sons' names, you didn't watch the intro, because they're in there. So Onyx is a stone. Most commonly, it's a black stone. And it's actually something that we came across while reading the Bible. So I thought that was kind of a cool name and kind of pointed it out to Summer, and she was like, oh yeah, kind of like that.
With Onyx's name, it's something that we both agreed on pretty much immediately in our marriage. I think this was maybe a year or two before we even were pregnant with Onyx, that we just knew if we ever had a son, that's the name we were going to give him. Unfortunately, we had a miscarriage before we got pregnant with Onyx, but as soon as we knew he was a boy, it was a no-brainer that was going to be his name. And for Boyd, we actually were watching The Last Man Standing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show, but there's a little boy in that show called Boyd. And I loved the name immediately and was like, oh my gosh, Ethan, what about this name? Well,
I didn't like the character. not the kid, but the mom of the character is just very extreme in some ways. So I was like, oh no, I don't really like the character, and therefore I didn't like the name. Well, after a while, though, it kind of started growing on me. And then when we found out what was it, 8 months in to the pregnancy, that it was not the girl that we were foretold, but it was rather a boy. All of a sudden, it just kind of popped back into my head, and I actually was like, what about Boyd? And she was shocked, because it's like, I thought you didn't like that name.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
now we love it.
So what I do for a living is this. I do YouTube. It does not make an income at this point, just because we need to continue to grow the channel before it can actually bring in an income. So I am doing everything at this point just for free, but I enjoy doing it, and I really do hope to eventually make it my full-time career. With that being said, I have a degree in business administration and have almost completed my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling as kind of a backup plan. I always knew that I wanted to write books, and kind of thought maybe someday I would do a YouTube channel, but I wanted to have something that I could fall back on, because I recognize that it's a risky kind of, hopeful thing that doesn't always kind of work out. So I wanted to have something I could fall back on. So I have those 2 degrees, and I'm pursuing this career path.
So I worked in HR for 6 or 7 years, but because of my eye disease, my vision is kind of declining to where I was no longer able to perform my work. So at this time, I'm on long-term disability leave. So we're kind of using that as a positive, in a sense that I can now try and support, working on the channel and working around here and doing different things that you see in different videos. So, it's not an ideal situation for me personally, but I think we're making the most of it, and I feel really good about being able to be a part of this.
It really allows us to fully embrace the homesteading lifestyle and work together as a partnership, which I really appreciate. It's very sad that Ethan is losing his eyesight, and if it continues to progress, which it should, he will eventually go blind completely. But he's really made the most out of a really difficult situation, and I'm really proud of him.
Oh, well, it's easy to do when you're happy.
Aw. Our wellness journey is something that I feel really discouraged about, to be honest with you. We both have gained back about 12 pounds of the weight that we lost originally. I lost 40 pounds originally, and I think you lost...
I was like 28, 29.
Yeah, so almost 30.
Yeah.
But both of us have gained back 12 of those pounds, which is really, really disappointing. There's several reasons for that. I think, though, primarily, the biggest reason is just that we struggle with our health. We struggle with consistency, and it's just a difficult thing for us, and always kind of has been our entire lives long. Even before we met each other, I always struggled with my weight. As a teenager, I kind of had it under control and was quite fit as a teenager, because I stayed very active with jobs and tennis and musicals and various things. But before I was a teenager, and certainly after getting married, I've struggled with my weight the entire time. So it's just gonna be, I think, a continued struggle, something that we have to kind of work at constantly, and invest in that journey and reignite that desire to keep going. But it's challenging, and I'm just gonna be honest about that struggle. It is a struggle. But with that being said, I do want to recommit to the goals that we originally set out. This channel, the whole objective was to be on a wellness journey and to use homestead lifestyle as a means to getting into a healthy place, and I still believe in that.
We could have put this in the why we moved to Michigan part, but that was another reason we wanted to move somewhere more rural, get out of the city, was we wanted to focus on our health, get away from so many temptations. You could so easily just have food brought to your doorstep, and that was really tempting, especially with COVID. You just got into the habit of like, I don't want to go out anywhere. Everybody was having everything delivered anyway. So, and it was nice to get out of the city, to come up here, and it's been so good for my health. Even though like the weight hasn't just like fallen off, it's been a gradual progress forward, and I do feel a lot healthier, even at the weight I'm at. So the benefits are already there, but it's just a matter of, like Summer said, trying to get more of a consistency, and that is part of the journey. You're going to have your ups and downs, but I feel like it was harder with the winter, being less active. You got the holidays where you're indulging, But we're still hoping to, just kind of bring everything back into focus for this year. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do here and bring you guys along, because you help us kind of continue to try and be accountable with what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. And I really struggled with my mom's diagnosis. For those of you who've been following along with the shorts, you may have seen that my mom was diagnosed with an illness that, she wants to keep private, but it was just a really difficult time for our family. So it really kind of affected my mental health, which therefore affected my desire and commitment to stay invested in my wellness journey. It's not an excuse, it's just the reality. And I definitely know something about myself is that I'm an emotional eater. I tend to celebrate with food and tend to, eat my emotions if I'm feeling depressed or whatever. So, that's just something that affected my wellness journey.
Yeah, life happens. You're never going to be able to avoid bumps in the road. And that's why I think we've always kind of said and wanted to try to just continue to go in a general direction. And despite some of the swerves and getting a little sidetracked, I do feel like it's always been a positive forward motion. Mm-hmm. And as far as what Summer said, emotions are delicious. They're probably the tastiest thing out there. Like, it doesn't matter what the emotion is. It's always fun to have food. It's such a primal thing. So it is a big part of our lives and always has been. But I think it's just getting that balance, obviously, that we're continuing to work with. And I will say, I'm always encouraged now, whereas in the past, I didn't always feel encouraged about our forward progress. It always just felt like we were getting nowhere or just going the wrong direction. Whereas now, even though we've had struggles, I just feel encouraged and optimistic because I feel like we're at least heading in the right direction.
My favorite part of homesteading would have to be, I'm going to say the hobbies. I really enjoy sewing, crocheting, knitting, cooking, gardening, all of like the kind of more hobby aesthetic parts of homesteading. What would you say?
I am starting to get more into gardening. I feel like I won't say it's my favorite thing in the world, but I will say it's growing on me. And I just think there's something about just the purity of it, the life bringing from the ground. It's starting to grow on me a little bit. So I'd say that's
starting to grow on you?
It's growing on me, yeah.
My least favorite part of homesteading, I would say, is probably, I hate to say it, but it's probably cooking, because it requires so much time and so much effort into meal planning, prepping, preserving. It's just a lot of work. And if you do it the right way, it could pretty much take up your entire day and there wouldn't be any time for anything else. So I would say that's my least favorite part, even though I do love cooking.
My least favorite thing is probably just I'm not great with doing new things, new projects. Once I've learned it, I feel pretty confident, but I hesitate to try new things. And you're constantly having to face new challenges unless you've been in the lifestyle a while. Just trying to fix things or build things. It's a new skill that I'm just not super comfortable with. But I feel like that'll change as I acquire more skills, and then maybe it won't be so bad. But right now, it's just a little bit of a clunky first-timer feel to everything.
Learning curve.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My homestead goals is to eventually get more animals. I think that's sort of the thing we're lacking right now. We are currently building our new garden area where we're going to have 6 raised beds, which I discussed in a recent short. And we're also going to be getting baby chicks soon, which I'm really excited about. It's going to be a gift for Boyd because he's been asking for baby chicks for a long time now. And it's something we wanted to do anyway because I love to eat eggs like basically every single morning. And obviously with baking, you need lots of eggs. So having fresh farm eggs has always been a goal of mine. But he really wanted it for his birthday. So his birthday is next month and we're going to be getting some baby chicks for him.
Well, and he also said, if Onyx gets a dog, then can't I have a baby chick? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, okay, I guess that's fair.
It's fair.
But it was something that we kind of knew at some point we wanted to do anyway. So that's going to be talking about learning curves. That'll be a very interesting learning curve.
But I also eventually would love to get a cow for fresh milk and cream, and to eventually make butter and cheese, do all those sorts of things. And I would also really like to get horses someday. I just think it'd be really lovely to go riding. And like I've showed you guys in the past, we have a snowmobile trail that runs right next to our property. So I think you can also take horses out there, because we recently saw a couple people on their own horses. So I think that'd be so neat to do. With that being said, it could never work on this current property that we have. We only have about 1.3, I think it is, acres.
Something like that,
Yeah, here on this property, and a lot of that is actually trees, so it's not very conducive to having a lot of animals. So we do have our sights on possibly a different property, probably here in Michigan, in this area, because our kids are really thriving in this area, but we have an open mind to other areas too. Just we'll see kind of where life takes us, but for now we're really happy in our little cottage, and just really thriving here, and we're really grateful for this property.
My homestead goals would basically center around how much we're getting from the homestead, as far as like our garden, like how much we're getting from that, eating fresher, healthier. Also, I just think it would be really good to start learning more skills. We've talked about like continuing to learn a little more about like, fishing, and maybe even getting into hunting. A lot of things that honestly a lot of people do up here anyway, so it's not like it would be out of the ordinary, and there's a lot of people we can learn from. So I think it would just be kind of cool to kind of continue to learn those little things and just have a cleaner life in general. It is so peaceful here that it would just feel nice, I think, to feel even more connected to the land and to the environment around us.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you guys got a little bit of insight into who we are as people and what our goals are. And yeah, we just look forward to getting to know you guys more. Leave comments in the comment section about questions you have for us to answer, or maybe answer some of the questions that we also answered, so that we can get to know you guys as well. We always love reading the comments, and I always make a point to respond to each comment we get, so please leave a comment and a like and subscribe if you're not already. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
See ya.